So, were you a big wrestling fan growing up? How did you get involved with professional wrestling at first?
So, not a big fan. My grandfather was, so I remember watching it with him, here and there. Mine was an audition, it just I had done a couple of things for TV, but I was actually I was in a lab drawing blood. And this particular agency just happened to call and left a message, and they said, come down for a sports show. I went down. There was a lot of women there. They needed 12 girls for a pilot. I was one of the ones that they picked. Mondo Guerrero was my trainer. He trained me for 2 or 3 months. And the producers, like I said, needed 12 girls for a pilot. I was one of the ones that they picked for the pilot. We shot it in December of 1985. You probably weren't even born. 1985, and then they sold it to television, and I did 4 seasons of Glow. Of course, I went on to do other stuff, but that's how I got into it.
Yeah. Memories of your first audition.
Scary. Well, the first audition was really scary because we didn't know what we were doing. We were learning, but as everyone always knows, when you're young, you have no fear. So there was no fear at all. So when Monda goes, which one of you girls can ram your head into the turnbuckle and land on your back, I raised my hand first. I was like, yes, I can do that. And obviously, by doing that, our producer saw it, David McLean, and he said, you know what? He goes, she's my first Glow girl hired. So just, I would say giving not just giving 100%, but if you really love something a lot, you will give it 110 or more.
What I think is
And it
pretty,
worked.
yeah, you
And it
gotta, you
worked.
gotta, you gotta take risks if you really want to move up the ladder, so to speak. And the
Right.
pretty cool thing about Glow was that at that point, you didn't really see a lot of stuff with the women's wrestling genre. It was very
Oh
kind of
yeah,
kept to the,
quiet.
yeah, it was very quiet. And this kind of really set the tone for what was to come down the road with what we see now with the women's revolution, and there's a market for it now. And so,
Absolutely. And I think with anything, if you think where women's wrestling started way back, I know
mhm,
we're talking about circus days, but you go back and you see that those few women, there wasn't a lot doing it. Again, they paved the road for me, so you can't forget. There's a great book called The Sister of the Squared Circle right
mhm,
here.
yeah,
And sometimes it's a great book. Dan Murphy and Pat LaPrade did it, but it's got Billy Wolf and his girls. I've read a lot of it, but
mhm.
it's a very good book. Lowe's in it as well. But when you start reading, these chapters of the original American wrestlers, it's fascinating, actually.
It really is just to look back and see all the greats like you had mentioned, and just so cool to see that it's progressed and it's become more than what it was.
Mainstream,
Yeah, it's there's a,
yeah.
like I said, there's a market for it now.
Oh,
So
huge.
when you started with Glow, I mean, I've talked with several people on the show about the training process. It seems
Right.
like this wasn't just a wrestling promotion. This was a series, and to really get in training for this particular program, you had to take a lot of bumps. I mean, that's not
Oh
easy.
yeah. That isn't easy, but that's what wrestling is. So if you're going to get into it, just beware. You will be bruised and you will be sore and you'll have muscles. You're using parts of your body that you thought you never used before. I mean, when I was learning, I learned the training was at night, which was great because then I could do my regular job without losing it during the day. So I trained Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I would come into work in the morning after training, which was 7 to 10 p.m. I was so sore. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But you know what? It's a good sore. So it's like when you go to the gym and you've lifted weights, you wake up the next morning, but it's not a bad sore. It's a good sore. And that's just something that goes with that territory.